Good evening, everyone. Kindly confirm that my voice is fine. If everything is set at your end, mention all set, then we are going to start. Okay, so voice is fine. Okay. So election season is in full swing. We are having elections in 5 states. That is like 1/5 of India's population is getting opportunity to cast their vote in next few days. Kindly check. It's fine. Okay, great. And this issue is again in news, criminalization in Indian politics. We need to understand the efforts done in recent past to curb this menace and why criminalization is there in Indian politics. What are the reasons behind this? Why almost all major parties field some candidates with criminal backgrounds. So one common answer is winnability is a factor. But why criminals win in Indian elections, right? So I would like to make this session interactive, means I'll keep on asking some questions and would like your responses in this regard, right? No one can say that this particular topic has nothing to do with me, right? So we have structured our conversation in this manner. First, why this in news? So we have seen the recent data, right? So many candidates from criminal background. So on this point, I want to quote one famous scholar, Rousseau. He once said that every society has kind of criminal and politicians which that society deserve. So can we say that criminalization in Indian politics is actually a reflection of our society, where people who break law are actually highly praised, right? Welcome Sudama, welcome Sharma. Now, lawmakers become lawbreakers. Now, not many people are, that much sensitive about this issue, that, oh, criminals. So it has become so common that now we don't have that much problem with this particular issue, right? And we don't actually relate with the impact this criminalization is having on Indian politics as well as different dimensions of future of India. So why this is a cause of concern? So there are some data in front of you. 4,442 cases are pending. When it comes to sitting legislatures, it is more than 2,500 cases. What does it say? It is a reflection of our society. And some, so many cases are related to people who were found to obstruct the government procedures. Means IPC section 188 was imposed upon them. I remember the scenario of 2012, 2013. I hope many of you would remember too, that so many scams were in news. At that time, the word politician became an abusive word. So I want this discussion to be, interactive. So I would like you people to connect at the same time. Welcome Romia, welcome Deepak. So at that point of time, I published one article and the title was, I'm talking about 2012, and the title was, Politicians Are Innocent. So going by this debate, criminalization of politics, and concerning the time when so many scams were in news and politicians were considered as the sole reason of all the problems which we are having in India. So I said, politicians are innocent. Many people thought, who is this mad guy? He's saying politicians are innocent. But the moment they read the article, they were very much convinced. So my point was, that was a satire. My point was that politicians are businessmen. And I hope we would agree to this point. Every businessman brings product which customers are demanding. So if customers are demanding, that some of their illegal works to get done by some local politician, then definitely These politicians will bring a politics which is prone with, you can say, criminalization. If you are divided on the lines of religion, caste, then definitely these politicians will bring products and services with regard to this caste and religion-based politics. So can we actually put all the responsibility on the politicians only? No, right? So we have seen issues like, so many cases, against them. Some of them are heinous cases, right? These are corruption, money laundering, damage to public property, defamation, and cheating. Quite common, right? And sometimes known bailable warrants are issued, but when it comes to execution, execution is quite poor. Now, those who think, what is the impact? I remember one famous scholar, Socrates. So he was living in Athens, and he was given this judgment that you have to drink, you can say, you have to drink this poison. So his students were very much convinced that he has done nothing wrong. He has just pointed out what is wrong in society, what is wrong in the system of Athens. I'm talking about ancient times. So at that time, Socrates said, I have all the opportunity. My students have arranged that I can actually run away from this prison. I can save my life, but I'm not going to save my life because law matters. Such was the importance of law in the eyes of Socrates. He said, our life is secure because law is in place. And if I'm going to break the law, then what is going to happen with others who are, who have been following me? So such is the importance of law. And if our lawmakers become lawbreakers, it leads to lawlessness, corruption. And what is its impact? You can see what is there in our society: poverty, inequality, disharmony. So don't you think this criminalization of politics is not that some people actually amassing wealth by being in politics? No, it is not just about that. It is about that India is getting weakened due to this fact of Indian politics. And that is why it is responsibility of our youth to get aware of this and take some actions in this regard. So these are some common headlines. Look at this. 35% of Uttar Pradesh Assembly members face criminal charges. Over half newly elected MLAs have criminal cases. ADR, Association for Democratic Reform, one organization which all of you should remember. We owe a lot to ADR. It was due to the efforts made by this civil society group ADR and its petition in Supreme Court that we got this right, that now every candidate who is filing, a candidature in this election, they have to file an affidavit telling us how many criminal cases are against them, what are their assets, what is this education. So now we can see whom we are giving our vote. So it became possible due to the efforts made by organizations like ADR, right? So according to this analysis, they find 71% of winning candidates in Kerala, 60% in Tamil Nadu, 49% in Bengal have criminal cases. So these data can be used in your essays or in answer, right? Because data gives legitimacy to your expression, right? Highest number of cases pending against politicians are in Uttar Pradesh, right? So Supreme Court has given certain rulings with regard to curbing this menace. If we have to take into consideration the efforts made by executive, legislature and judiciary, who made the most effort to curb this? So Supreme Court has made. Now take a look over these judgments and the learnings which you should keep in mind. First of all, Supreme Court said, what happened that if you are an MLA of a concerned party and that party comes to power, now this party gives direction to the respective department that they should take the case back from you. So it is like if you win, so most of the cases against you are actually withdrawn. So on this particular issue, Supreme Court has given direction, no state government can actually withdraw cases against legislature without permission of High Court. So I hope you would consider the importance of this particular decision. State governments cannot withdraw criminal cases against legislature without permission by High Court, and the court ruled, right? And when it comes to prelims, you should keep in mind, UPSC can play a statement like, as per Supreme Court judgment to curb the menace of criminalization in politics, state government cannot withdraw any civil or criminal case against concerned legislator without permission of High Court. What do you think? That statement would be true or false? Let me know in comments. So, what's your response? Should I repeat my question? I'm saying, if statement is, as per Supreme Court judgment, to curb the menace of criminalization of politics, state governments cannot withdraw civil as well as criminal case against concerned legislator without permission of High Court. That statement would be true or false? Come on, in comments, answer. That statement would be false because this judgment is specifically related to criminal cases, not civil cases, okay? Now second, Supreme Court has said that parties who have not furnished the details which were asked in a stipulated time, now they have to put fine. So some parties, BJP, Congress, JDU, RJD, as you can see, they were found guilty of the contempt for incomplete disclosure. So they have been fined. Third, Supreme Court has said that we are going to create a special bench which is going to take a tab of the kind of number of cases which are going on with regard to this issue and what is its progress. So Supreme Court suggesting a special bench at the level of Supreme Court to take cognizance of the ongoing cases. So this is also a welcoming step. Another is Supreme Court has given direction to Election Commission that you have to make a dedicated app, and on that app every citizen should be allowed to access the information related to that you can say concerned candidate about the cases which are pending against that particular you can say candidate. Okay, so you can say that it is part of our right to information, right? If you're exercising vote and you're not having right information about the concerned candidate, don't you think it is also against your right to vote? Because voting means you are selecting that person. You think that person is good for you. But if you don't have enough information, how can you choose that person? Right? So it is important for democracy as a value also. Right? So apart from this, Supreme Court has given this direction that all the parties need to publish the details regarding the criminal cases against these candidates into websites, local vernacular newspapers, social media accounts, so that people have right information. No disqualification before charges are proved. Why this particular statement? Because consider that Sajal Tiwari. So Sajal Tiwari is a politician. Okay, so he is planning to fight election from Bareilly in Uttar Pradesh, right? And Rajesh is also planning to contest election against Sajal. So Rajesh may file frivolous complaint against Sajal and may also produce certain evidence, right? Fake evidences. So in this way, it may be possible that Sajal is a good candidate. He wants to serve the people. But due to frivolous complaint against that person, against Sajal, due to frivolous case against that Sajal, do you think just filing of the case against Sajal make Sajal criminal? No, right? Until you are proven, right? Until that is proven, how can you be considered guilty, right? So that is why this, and Supreme Court has also advised that there should be amendment in Representation of People Act. Let's understand 5 important judgments given by Supreme Court which have added value to make our this election process, you can say, a bit free from this criminalization, although the effectiveness we are going to discuss. First case is Association for Democratic Reforms, as I told you. It is due to this case, now we have this right, that candidates are bound to disclose in affidavit all the information related to education, assets with them or spouse, the kind of cases they are having. So this disclosure got possible after ADR versus Union of India case. You should keep this in mind and quote this in your answer. Second is Lily Thomas case. So another important judgment. This judgment is related to Section 8 subclause 4 of Representation of People Act. So many politicians were actually making joke of this conviction process as they were taking rebate of this section. This section says that these politicians, even if conviction is done from the lower court, they will be given 3 months period and they can actually file an appeal, right? And due to this file an appeal, they were actually getting cover from this disqualification process. Lily means kya? Flower. So Lily case you can remember. So Lily सोच के flower समझे क्या? Flower नहीं है. Lily case is fire, right? How Lily case is fire? Because Lily case has actually declared this particular section as unconstitutional, right? As unconstitutional. Would you be able to remember it now? Right? Now, PUCL case, another important case. Major contribution is now you have nota, none of the above. Means court said that if no candidate is actually worth giving vote, then still these people should be given their right to exercise their right to vote, so that there can be a message given to these parties in future so that they can change the candidates, right? So nota, important contribution, right? And it is part of PUCL. So we got this nota after PUCL judgment, right, versus Union of India. Next, Public Interest Foundation. So in this particular judgment, it was said that when it comes to trials related to MPs and MLAs, they should be concluded within 1 year. Within 1 year. And charges against them should be framed. So important judgment. Then another judgment is Lok Prahari. So Lok Prahari case was much in news as certain allegations were leveled against this electoral bonds. You know that when it comes to criminalization of politics, a big component is that these criminals have more potential to funnel money for the party, right? And most of that money is illegal money, right? Black money. So to curb that menace, government said we have brought electoral bonds, but there are some issues with respect to transparency related to electoral bonds also. So on this case, Supreme Court has declared that in future, Supreme Court can intervene in the process of electoral funding also, right? Now, provisions of Representation of People Act, it says cannot contest election only when their conviction in criminal case. And if, so it is, you cannot fight election if convicted in criminal case. But if you are a sitting MLA or sitting MP and you are convicted you can say you are convicted and the punishment for you is more than 2 years, then your seat, your representation stands disqualified, right? So who was the first politician who was actually disqualified under this particular clause? Can anyone mention in comments? Who was the politician got disqualified after the application of this particular rule? In comments, come on. लालू प्रसाद यादव. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Now main reasons क्या हैं? What are the main reasons of criminalization politics? One is vote bank, right? Winnability of candidate is ensured, right, by the parties while they allot the tickets, and within that they take into consideration vote bank. Oh, this person belongs to this caste, this religion, and this person is having influence due to money power or muscle power on this basis. Corruption, right? These people can contribute more money into party fund, that is why they can be given. This is representation of lack of governance. Now what can be done? So refusal of tickets to tainted by political parties. Some of you might say, this is bol bachan. How this would happen? This can happen only when society changes. Means when we get aware and we reject these kind of candidates. Making fast track court quick and efficient. Because these politicians remain in quite relaxed position because they actually throughout their life, there are many cases their advocates kept on maintaining. So this doesn't create much problem for them. Sorry for interruption. So we were talking about way forwards. So the point is, first of all, these parties should prohibit these candidates to give these tickets to them. Second is, it is possible only when we get aware, right? Our awareness is mandatory. Along with this, we need special courts, fast-track courts dedicated for resolving these particular issues, right? On this point, I want to quote famous scholar Gunnar Myrdal. He, in his book Asian Drama, has said that countries like India are soft state. When I say soft state, it means states who have less capability to enforce law. Enforce law. Even if you have good laws in place, even if you have laws in place that this action will be taken, but if corruption get penetrated into state machinery, do you think enforcement of these laws is possible? I think you will all will accept no. And this is exactly what is happening. It means we have laws in place, but when it comes to enforcement, there is a big gap in its enforcement. So Gunnar Myrdal says soft state. Soft state means lack of enforcement capacity, and lack of enforcement capacity leads to lawlessness. Lawlessness leads to people having less belief in law. And if people have less belief in law, it will lead to insecurity, right? Another scholar, Mr. F.W. Riggs, he says countries like India are prismatic society. It means, now connect this with criminalization in Indian politics. He says that in India, people actually praise politicians who have capability to break law. Now, I don't want you to point fingers just on people. Why people are praising these criminal politicians? You should think in elaborate manner. Why people go to these politicians of criminal background? You know what the reason is? Because they get people's work done. Because people are not able to meet these bureaucrats, these government officers. These doors are shut for common people in many areas. What alternative people have? Only alternative is to reach an MLA, reach an MP who will call up district magistrate or SSP, sometimes rebuke that district magistrate or SSP to get that work done, and that work is done. So it means this person is a system in itself. And my friends, in last, I would like to conclude in this manner. In a system, when a person considers himself, herself as a system, then only people are going to lose. Because country should be run with law. Country should not be run with whims and fancies of a local politician, right? So this discussion need to be, thought on, right? Points need to be collected by you so that you can use them in your answer, as well as the scholars which I have pointed out need to be used in your ethics as well as essay. See you in the next session. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. Shashank Tyagi signing off.